Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Miss Mustard Seeds page. I'm Deb Cottle, and I'm coming to you live from my studio in South Georgia. I'm in a little town called St. Mary's, Georgia. Those of you who have been following the page for quite a while know that I love to come on here and teach you all something. So I thought we'd come on a little bit later this evening, try to catch a few more of you at home. I'm in South Georgia, so it's 7:30 my time right now. So I just want to teach you something really quick. As y'all hop on here, go ahead and tell me where you're from. I love to see where y'all are watching from. And we're going to talk about the versatility of milk paint tonight and how you can take one color and keep adding water and make lots of different colors. So I love milk paint because of its versatility and because it doesn't follow any rules. And so for that, I just kind of want to talk about it for just a few minutes while y'all are hopping on. Hey guys, nice to see you. I know, I see you, Jen. I have big goals of being like Jen Baker when I grow up. So I'm not QVC bound yet, but I'm trying real hard. So anyway, the name of my store is Cottle and Gun. I know that I'm very backwards because you know what? When I flip the camera, it just totally confuses me. The wrong hand is doing the right thing and I just can't figure it out. So I'm just not technical enough to do that. But what I want to talk about tonight is how you can take milk paint and you can keep adding water to it and get a completely different look. And so that's what we're going to do tonight. I am going to be working in the color Trophy, which is a great color to actually stain with. When you don't necessarily want a stain that's brown, we typically use Curio a lot when we're staining, but tonight I'm going to show you how to do it in Trophy. And like I said, I just love milk paint. My background tonight is actually this gorgeous dresser that I just finished last week. This is in Shutter Gray. It's waiting pickup. But I thought, wow, what a great backdrop this will be, even though you won't be seeing it much tonight. But I love the versatility of it. And a lot of people ask me why I choose milk paint. And a lot of times I choose milk paint because of it being an old paint. And I love to paint a lot of old furniture. So this piece is turn of the century Berkey and Gay furniture. It's absolutely stunning. I left some of the original drawers and I painted the rest in milk paint. If this piece would have been painted originally when it was created, it would have been painted in milk paint because there was no other paint on the market. That's how long this paint's been around. It's been around for thousands of years. So that's kind of how I choose a lot of times what I want to paint in milk paint. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I went ahead and mixed the paint about 15 minutes ago when I came down here to get started. And one of my tips is I never mix less than 2 tablespoons of paint. So what I have mixed is 2 tablespoons of Trophy and 2 tablespoons of water. So it's going to be equal parts of powder and water. So when I did this piece, I did equal parts of powder and water to achieve this look. But what I want to show you tonight is what happens when we start adding more and more and more water. It becomes a wash, it becomes a stain, and it becomes amazing. So the milk paint comes, as you know, I just kind of go through some remedial facts while we're getting started. It comes in a bag like this. This is the color Trophy. I want to make sure, I know that James and Brenda are really working hard to get these stickers appropriate, but these stickers, guys, when you go to your local stockist to grab paint, look at their examples. It's not always translates into this. This is a printed sticker. So most of us have a lot of different examples in the store. And so this is my actual Trophy stick. This is with clear wax, with white wax, and with dark wax. So make sure that you're not, kind of picking the color based on a sticker, because we know that stickers are kind of different. So I'm just using a pine board tonight, and I'm gonna be putting the camera down so that you can see what I'm doing. So you may not see me, but you are going to see what I'm doing. So And I know that Chris is on here, so if you all have any questions, if I miss them, she'll be happy to help you. So we're gonna get started on this first little section right here. It doesn't matter what kind of brush you use when painting in the Miss Mustard Seed. I'm just using a synthetic bristle brush right now, a flat brush, real simple. And I'm just gonna get it on. You guys hear me kind of whisking away. It's really important that you stir our milk paint periodically throughout the process because you want to make sure that those pigments are equally distributed throughout the water. Okay, so this is our trophy, full strength. So this is equal parts of powder and water. So beautiful gray. And you can see on this raw pine, it's giving me amazing coverage. Now, trophy, I feel, is actually really a very good color to get really good coverage. But I do want to remind you all, when you're painting furniture, to never judge your piece of furniture on the first coat of paint. Just don't do it. It's always going to look ugly before it gets better. And I don't want y'all to freak out about that. We're filling in the little knot there. So I do not want you all to judge milk paint on the first coat, because if you judge it on the first coat, you'll throw the bag away and you'll never pick it up again. Don't do that. Keep going. You've just got to keep going, because the end result is going to be what's behind me, and everybody loves the end result. So that is perfect equal parts powder and water with trophy, okay? 2 tablespoons of water, 2 tablespoons of powder. You can see it's beautiful, right? So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add one more thing of water. Actually, I'm gonna do 2, because now we're gonna do 2 parts of water. And so this is where math comes in, right? Because I did equal parts. Now I'm gonna do 4 parts water with 2 parts paint. We've got to teach our children that the math comes in handy, even when we're painting in our painting shops. My daughter was 3 when I opened this store, and she used to call it the painting shop. Now she's 11, almost 11, going on 16. She got braces today, so I left her. I live above my store, so I left her at home eating ramen noodles. She was so excited because I never let her buy ramen noodles. And tonight I was like, honey, you can have ramen noodles all you want, because that's probably all she can eat tonight with those new braces on. So I'm just stirring again. And now we're going to see what happens when I go down to 2 parts water with 1 part paint. It's not a huge difference yet, but it's ever so slight, okay? We're just going to keep adding water because I love using milk paint as a stain as well, especially on raw wood. And we're going to do all of this with just 1 coat. So, because I want to just show it to you and how it really, you're going to start seeing the wood grain more. I also love milk paint because one of the things that I love about it is that there's striation of color within a color. And what I mean by that is every once in a while, you'll just kind of get these like flecks of white and flecks of green and black and gray, and the colors that all make up the color trophy. So you can already kind of see that we're going down a little bit and it's becoming a little bit more translucent, okay? So let's add 2 more scoops of water. We're gonna get all the way to 5 parts tonight. And then we're gonna take a little break. Y'all can go get some snacks while I blow dry this board. So go grab your popcorn. And we're gonna blow dry this board. And then I'm gonna show you how the wax and the hemp oil affects it, okay? I'm always trying to think up things to teach you all because I just love learning about this paint so much. I've been a Miss Mustard Seed retailer for over 7 years now, and there are still days that I learn things. And I think that's what I love about this paint, is that it always keeps me on my toes because I'm continually learning and growing as a retailer in milk paint, and I just love learning new things. So, you know, if you're into sign making, or you're into, a lot of you all do the, like the palette wood and everything. I always do room temperature water, Jen. I always do room temperature water right out of the faucet. And we do have some pretty sulfury water here in St. Mary's. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not the greatest of water. I call it egg salad water, to be honest. So you can see now that we're starting to graduate down with the strength of the pigment. We're starting to see more wood grain behind it. And so I'm digging it. Let me scoot y'all over a little bit. I'm digging it, right? So I wasn't born in South Georgia. I was born in Missouri. And sometimes my Missouri accent comes out, and sometimes my Georgia accent comes out. It depends on what I'm doing, I guess. We're going to add 2 more scoops. So now we're up to 4 parts water. Okay, stirring it good still. Remember, I'm still at only 2 tablespoons of paint, you guys. So to give you all an idea, this dresser behind me, I used a total of 10 tablespoons of paint to create that look. So a little over half of a bag to create that. Now, you know, obviously, if you're doing less paint, more water, you're going to get a lot of use out of 1 bag of milk paint. And it would certainly not be a Deb Cottle video if I didn't talk about the paint. Okay, so when you have milk paint in its powdered form, this is my famous saying, you guys, you can will it to your children, okay? Until you mix it with water, that paint has an endless shelf life. It'll last forever. Maddie will be so excited when she inherits all my paint someday, right? Because that's just the way it is. Now, once I mix it, it's gonna go bad. I mean, it's just gonna go bad. It's so that's why when I'm painting on a large painting project, I definitely kind of think out how much I'm gonna need for the project, and that's how much I paint. Or use the first time, because I don't want to waste paint. I never want to waste paint. So, okay, see how we're getting less and less and less? Still my 2 tablespoons of paint. So we're going to go all the way down to 5 parts. And I do 5 parts a lot when I'm staining raw wood for classes. We do a lot of sign making, and we are so excited because we are opening back our studio May 1st for classes, so we are super excited. It's been 14 months since I've had people in my studio, with one exception. I did a couple of private classes, and I tried those Zoom classes, you guys. That is just not for me. My customer liked it, but I didn't like it that much because I like to touch and feel and talk and chat and catch y'all's drips and, you know, everything else. So for quantities when mixing paint, like how much do you recommend for a dresser? And I assume. Okay, so when I'm looking at like the dresser behind me, which is like a 4-2 dresser, which I call these 4-2s, I usually start with, it depends on the color, of course, but if I'm painting like in farmhouse white or definitely ironstone or linen, I'm going to go ahead and mix 8 tablespoons, because 8 tablespoons, you're going to need it with the lighter colors. Now, if I was painting it in Artissimo, I would probably only mix 5 to 6 tablespoons to get started, because the 5 to 6 tablespoons is probably going to be enough to do your whole project. So to be honest, because it just doesn't take as much pigment. And so, you know, for that, I like to kind of, you know, err on the side of caution, because you can always mix more paint. You just don't want to mix too much. So, I mean, I don't mind like wasting 1 tablespoon of paint, but I don't want to mix 30 tablespoons of paint or the entire bag for a nightstand. For a nightstand, I usually start with 3 to 4 tablespoons. So for that, hey Patricia, I see you on here. So what 4-2 means is 4 tablespoons of water to 2 parts paint. So, and I'm gonna take pictures of this and we will drop it into this live as soon as I get finished with it. And I'll lay it all out and maybe we can even do another little post explaining this. I'll send all these pictures off to Chris. But so you can see on my board right here that this is 1 part with 1 part, 2 part with 1 part. And what I meant by 2 to 4 is because I started with 2 tablespoons of paint. Because remember, I don't ever mix less than 2 tablespoons. I don't feel like if you only mix 1 tablespoon that you get enough of the good stuff in there. So I always do a minimum of 2. So this is full strength. This is 2 parts water, 3 parts water, 4 parts water, and then 5 parts water. Okay? And you guys, this is like seriously almost dry. So do you see how if I pull all the way in, like it's seriously like almost dry? I'm gonna grab the hairdryer really quick. So this is the time of the demo that you're gonna go get your popcorn and your snacks and take a little break. And I just wanna blow dry it because I wanna show you all what happens when I wax and I hemp oil, because really, you cannot even realize how beautiful this paint is until you top coat it. You just can't. So I'm just giving it a really, really quick blow dry so that my paint is dry before I put any kind of top coat on it. Y'all feel free to keep asking questions. We love to answer questions. All of us do. We love to talk about paint. It's our favorite subject. Cheese girl, that's a toss-up. It's either between Artissimo and Luckett's. I love Artissimo and I love Luckett's. I've got 2 dressers in my bedroom in Artissimo, 1 in Luckett's. I love combining the 2 in design. I just love it. And I always say that every room should have a pop of red. Every room should have a pop of red. Okay, so we are dry. Let me grab a sandpaper real quick. My messy studio had a piece on the floor. Well, wasn't that convenient? We have been painting some furniture here. If you are close to me, I'm in St. Mary's, Georgia. I'm about 30 minutes north of Jacksonville, Florida. And we sell a ton of furniture out of my little store. We sell a lot of paint. We sell a lot of furniture. And so there's always paint flying in this studio. And I welcome you to come up, talk to me, visit me. I have lots and lots of examples in the store that you can touch and feel. And anytime that you come into my store, I always put tags on everything. You can flip the tag over. You can see exactly what finish it has on it. And, you know, I just welcome the opportunity for you to come up and talk to me and chit chat about paint. Now, I also, one of my tips about before I do any kind of top coats is I always sand my paint down smooth. But you're gonna notice on these, they're so watered down that they're already smooth. You don't even need to do that. You do not even need to do that. So the only ones I'm gonna sand down are 1 parts and 2 parts. So I'm just using 220 grit sandpaper, and I just like to give it an all over sanding, and that's how you're gonna get really, really, really smooth milk paint. I love it. I love that ultra smooth finish. I love when people walk through my store and they're like, we don't know why, but your furniture feels amazing. And it's because of what I do to it with sandpaper, you guys. Very, very smooth. So, okay, so you're kind of looking at this right now and you're like, okay, Deb, that looks nothing like this, okay? It gets kind of yucky before it's top coated, you guys. So that's why I said there's 2 times during the painting process that you've just got to keep going, okay? The first time is after your first coat. You've just got to keep going. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. After the first coat, just keep going. And I just decided I'm gonna put tape down the middle so we can kind of keep this good. So just keep going. And the second time is when it's finished, don't judge it before you top coat it. You want to make sure you top coat it because that is when the magic happens, okay? So I'm going to use hemp oil on 1 part because I love hemp oil, and I'm going to use wax on the other. So I am going to use, I'm using our lavender wax just because it smells amazing, but it's just our regular furniture wax. It comes in lavender and it comes in just regular. I'm a sucker for anything that smells like lavender, so I always gravitate towards the lavender wax because I just like it. I like the smell of it. So I'm going to actually bend you all back down again. Okay. So we'll do this side in the wax so that you can see it. Okay, we're going to do this part. Okay. So you're going to immediately look at that. Look at that, you guys. Do you see that? That is, oh my gosh. Y'all, I get really excited about waxing. I'm just going to be honest with you. I mean, this is like the cat's meow right here because I just absolutely love a waxed piece of furniture. I just do. There's just nothing like a waxed piece of furniture. It's just a beautiful finish. It's so soft. It's so, see it? It's just so luscious, and it's just, you know, everybody's always like, oh, we're just going to put poly on all these, you know, milk paints and chalk paints. And I'm like, why? I'm like, these are beautiful, natural paints. Why are you going to smother it with some plastic top coat? Use the wax, use the hemp oil. They're all natural products. They're amazing, and they leave an amazing finish. Got one more. I'm afraid I'm a klutz. You all have been on here before when I've spilled it all, so I'm trying to work carefully tonight. So, okay, so there is our waxed finish. It's actually good that I taped it because then you're going to see the middle of it where it doesn't have any kind of finish on it at all. Okay, so see, are y'all following me? Equal parts, 2 parts water, 3 parts water, 4 parts water, and 5 parts water. Okay, so now on this side, we're going to flip it around and we're going to hemp oil it. My daughter is texting me. I guess she thinks I can still text while I'm doing this. So now I'm just going to brush on some hemp oil. Okay. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I'm trying not to get too much on the raw wood because I'm going to actually put labels on this. So this will be in the store. But I'll send pictures to Chris. I'll take some good shots, and we can do a follow-up on this if that's good, Chris, so that people can kind of see what's going on here. Now you saw that I left the wax at the top, and I'm going to come back to it in just a minute after we hemp oil it, and I'm going to remove any excess wax. I'm allowing the wax to get absorbed by the paint for just a few minutes while we're hemp oiling on the bottom here, and then I'll remove the excess. Same with this hemp oil, so that you can see what it does. So see, if honestly, this is kind of what I was talking about. If you start judging the milk paint based on this really flat dullness, when it dries, you're going to be like, oh, this is so boring. But now that I'm showing you what happens when you hemp oil it, you're like, oh, now I get it. I get what she's talking about. It does become amazing. I do like Trophy as an alternative stain. I do use Curio quite a bit, but some people want more of like a weathered, worn look or weathered wood look, and Trophy is a great alternative for that look because it has the gray. But as you start lightening it up with the water, you can see that it starts going more brown. So that's why I think everybody really honestly should have some Trophy hanging around in their studios, because it is a very versatile color depending on the amount of water that you add to the paint. Okay, so we're all done hemp oiling it now. So now I'm just going to take my blue shop towels. These are just, oops, we had a reconnect issue. I'm in a small town and sometimes my Wi-Fi is like beep, beep. So I'm going to turn this back around. We're just going to remove the excess now. So keep in mind that if you were, working on a big dresser like my dresser behind me, generally speaking, by the time you have done waxed the whole thing, there's hardly any to remove. It really absorbs a lot of the wax, and there's usually very little amount of wax that you actually need to remove from the piece when you're finished with it. So, okay, and now I love these shop towels because I'm very frugal, you guys. And you'll notice that this is another tip when I'm working, is that I turn them into 4s so that I can have 8 sides to work with. Because once it gets yucky and it absorbs the wax, then I just flip it to another side and then I just keep working. Because I can do this whole thing with one shop towel. Because I like to save money where I save money. Because I love good brushes and good paint. And so, I will save money where I can save money. I'm frugal. I'm a single mama that just put braces on my kid. So now we're really going to start saving some money on these supplies, let me tell you. So it will take a couple of days for the hemp oil to be fully absorbed. And you may come back the next day and you'll see kind of highlights and lowlights. That's perfectly normal. Wood, especially raw wood, is just like our skin. And the pores absorb the oil in different ratios. So, it's got dry patches and wet patches and everything. But overall, we got most of the excess wax off of here. So, let me take my tape off of here. I use frog tape a lot because it doesn't pull the paint, which is what I like. I'm going to lift y'all back up. Okay. So, now we have it, you guys. This is all the same color of Trophy, Miss Mustard Seeds Trophy, in different ratios, okay? 1 to 1. Now that's 1 part water, 1 part paint. 2 to 1, 2 parts water, 1 part paint. 3 parts water, 1 part paint. 4 parts water, 1 part paint. And the last is 5 parts water with 1 part paint. So if I haven't totally confused you by now, we started with just 2 tablespoons of paint, and we just kept adding water until we got the desired look that we were looking for. The top is done, now I'm trying to remember which side. The top is done in wax, just the plain furniture wax, and the bottom is done with hemp oil. Strike that. Strike that. The top is, we'll get this together, guys. I told Chris, let's do it at night so more people will be watching. But let's do it at night when Deb's worked for 12 hours and she's tongue-tied, okay? The top is waxed and the bottom is hemp oiled. I can feel it. So, but we will definitely recap. I'm happy to take some great pictures and we can drop them into the comments here. And if you're catching us on the replay, you guys, please still comment and ask questions because we're always moderating our site here and we're happy to get back to you. If you need more personal help, please reach out to us on our Facebook page. You can message us. You can message me at Coddle and Gun. We're all here to help you. I always encourage you all to go on our locator guide and find the closest stockist to you. And to form that relationship in person with a local stockist is worth its weight in gold because we're always here to help you and guide you and, bring in your drapes, bring in your picture, bring in your furniture, your drawers. We're here to help you. But as always, I'm always happy to ship paint. We ship 6 days a week. So if you don't have a local stockist, you can go on coddlegun.com, go under the Miss Mustard Seed collection. All the products are there. Happy to ship it to you anytime. Every Thursday night at 8 p.m. on my page, Coddle and Gun, I do Creating with Coddle. I have several product lines in my stores, so we kind of flip back and forth between product lines. Sometimes it's painting, sometimes it's crafting, sometimes it's decor advice. So if you're not doing anything on a Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, hop on over to Coddle and Gun to be inspired on there. So I'm always very, very active and I'm always having fun. So I have the best job. I retired at age 40 and opened this store and the rest is history. So now I get to play every day. I'm not even wearing shoes right now, you guys. So it's great. So do you all have any questions at all before we hop off of here? I hope this was kind of an interesting little tutorial because I was just trying to think of something that maybe you all hadn't thought about and how you add the water and keep adding the water and, there's really not a texture difference, but I can feel the oil on here because it hasn't fully absorbed. So once the oil absorbs, there's really not that much of a texture difference. I do kind of feel like the wax is just slightly softer in feel than the hemp oil when completely dry. But nonetheless, they're both beautiful. So I love that. So sure. So I do carry a chalk paint line as well, and am a trainer for that line as well. And there are some very obvious differences between a chalk paint line and a milk paint line. One is that milk paint comes in a powdered form. So it comes like this. Here's my powder in this jar. Okay, you've got to add water to it and you make paint. And the thing that I don't want you to get hung up on is that, oh my gosh, I have to make the paint. No, guys, no. You're not making the paint. We're not asking you to make the paint. You're just combining water and powder and you're stirring it and you get paint, okay? So it's like essentially making hot chocolate. Powder, water, stir, let's sit for 10 or 15 minutes and then paint away, right? So that's one of the big differences. With chalk paint, you just literally pop the top, stir, and paint. Chalk paint in its natural form, right out of the can, will pretty much stick to any surface. It will stick to laminate, it will stick to plastic, it will stick to anything pretty much. And I'm not going to mention the paint lines, but if you go on my website, you'll see which line I carry. And I don't want to categorize all chalk paint into one group because they all behave differently. So please, I'm just talking about the one I sell, but it'll stick to anything. Okay. Milk paint, on the other hand, will not do that. So if somebody comes into my store and they're trying to paint a 1980s cherry dining room set that has a super glossy, slick finish on it, I'm going to give them the options of what they need to do. They're either going to need to paint in chalk paint straight out of the can, or they're going to need to add bonding agent to the milk paint. And bonding agent is a whole nother topic. Several people have talked about bonding agent, but it's an acrylic that you can add to the milk paint that will get it to stick to anything. So those are the main two main components about the two different paints, without going into a whole 30-minute spiel about the differences. The other differences are that milk paint has the striations of color within a color. There's no other paint on the market that will give that look to you. There is no other paint. Every other paint is just stir it, go, solid color. I like to tell people when they're trying to choose a paint that milk paint is a go with the flow kind of paint. You just can't really have any expectations sometimes. You just have to go with it. I say that milk paint's me. I'm like the life of the party. I just go with the flow, happy accidents. Woo, look, paint flew off. Oh, yay, let's go with it. Sometimes milk paint can crack, it can chip, it can flake. It can give it a very authentic look. You cannot get that with chalk paint. You can, but not authentically. You've got to force it to do those things, which you can force milk paint to do it as well. And I love using hemp oil with the milk paint. I don't do a lot of hemp oil with chalk paint, but I do with the milk paint. I'm trying to think if there's any. I have a little thing behind me, but I don't have my glasses on that explains more differences. But I just think milk paints, it's a very old paint. It's just fun. It's fun, and it's an experimental paint, and I just love it for so many reasons. So I love it. I'm gonna show you all, just while I'm here, we were just talking about hemp oil, and right beside me is a tabletop here that we just sanded down smooth. One of my painters, Toddy, did this. Sanded it right back down to natural wood and just hemp oiled it. So this is just a hemp oil, straight hemp oil finish on raw wood. No stain, no nothing, just straight hemp oil on that piece. So that's why I really encourage you all to form a relationship with a stockist, because we always have lots of examples in our stores that we can touch and feel and talk about, and all that good stuff. So, but yeah, I definitely encourage you. I think that a lot of my chalk paint customers, once they get milk paint in their hands and they learn about it, they do love it, because like I said, there's just no other paint on the market that's like it. There's nothing like it. So it's a very versatile paint. And as you can see from tonight's demonstration, you can do a lot of different things with it. So, all right. One other thing I want to show you is the importance of stirring. We talked about that in the beginning. You saw me constantly stirring. And the reason that you do that is we've been chatting now for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and my paint has now separated. This is the part that I start to spill paint. Do you see how it's separated? So we just stir it back up real quick. And we now equal the pigment throughout the water. So that is the importance of continuing to stir. You don't have to stir like constantly, but it is important to stir throughout the painting process so that you don't have those heavier pigments sink to the bottom of your little cup. And I just use these little cups because throw them away. So, that's it. All right, y'all. Does anybody have any other questions before I get off of here? I will take some pictures of this and shoot them on over to Chris in a little bit, and so we can have a little recap of what we talked about tonight. And once again, my name's Deborah Cottle. Deb, I just go by Deb. At Cottle and Gun, those are my last name's Cottle, and I'm in St. Mary's, Georgia. All of my Instagram, Facebook, my websites, everything's Cottle and Gun, so it's really kind of simple to remember. And reach out. Do you already apply wax? Okay, so wax, hardly ever do I ever reapply wax. Once it's on there good. The only time is it's really, really high use, and I like to say that once your wax, you can't buff your wax anymore, you might need to. And buffing's a whole nother story too. If I want to get a really, really shiny finish, I'll wait a day and then come back in and buff this. And I can get a super, super shiny finish, just like a poly, you guys. It'll get shiny as your patent leather shoes, trust me. So the wax I very rarely will ever reapply. The hemp oil I do reapply every once in a while. And to be honest, those of you who know me, you know that I talk about hemp oil all the time because I feel like it's a staple in my house because I have a lot of pieces of furniture that I've never painted, primitives that I love. And I love to hemp oil my primitives about every 6 months as a wood conditioner. So you can kind of feel it when it kind of needs to have a little bit of moisture added back into it. So I do sometimes reapply my hemp oil as a good moisturizer because I do love old furniture so much. So, can it be saved? What do you do with leftover paint? No, ma'am. You can save it for about 2 weeks or so, and then it's like pewy stinky. It'll dry up. So I try to use any leftovers I have to either do base coats or make some signs that you've got laying around, or you just chalk it up to, I've got 1 tablespoon left. I over stirred, and you just throw it out because it'll last for about 2 weeks or so if it doesn't dry before that. And to make it last for 2 weeks, I put saran wrap over it and a rubber band so that the water doesn't evaporate from the paint. If I leave this overnight, the water will start evaporating, and within a couple of days, there will be no water left in the container. So it is important to save it that way. But once you do that, you can do it. Pots, right now it's gardening, so we're using it on a lot of pots. I have things in the store that I just, let's see what else we can add a little bit of a wash to. So, you can do all of that. So, but yeah, that's where it comes important to kind of once you start really working with milk paint, I can really guesstimate, but I've painted thousands of pieces of furniture. And so it's pretty easy for me to guesstimate, but for the at-home user, while you're first kind of getting started, just kind of, err on the side of caution and do a little bit of less milk paint. And you can kind of look at it and you're like, I'm painting in Shutter Gray. I think it's a 5-drawer dresser, and I'm going to mix 6 tablespoons and see how far that gets me. So, all right. Okay, guys, I'm going to hop off here. And what are your favorite pieces to paint? Older the better. The older the better. I talked about this last Thursday in my live. I'm all about pre-manufactured furniture. So mass-produced furniture. So for example, if you go back on my Instagram page a couple of days, you'll see, and I think Chris shared it on the MMS page, but I have this gorgeous bureau that the second drawer is not a drawer, it's a desk, right? And so I love furniture that was not mass produced. I love furniture that when I see it, I'm like, I am never going to see another one of these in my entire career. And so around the 1940s, 1950s, at the end of the war, people, they were pumped up and they started mass producing furniture. And so my favorite furniture is pre-mass production. So late 1800s, early 1900s, things that I'm like, you're never going to find this again, girl. You're never going to find it. Every once in a while, I'll find it. But I also love 1920s Jacobean style. Right before the Great Depression, we were coming out of the Victorian era, and we had chunky legs and lots of carved details. And those are some of my favorite pieces to paint because of the beautiful details. And so that's probably my favorite furniture style. I also love Empire. I have a love affair with Empire. I love the curvy legs on Empire. It's weird how I talk about furniture. I really do love furniture. I know it's crazy, but I love furniture, and I love the style of furniture, and it brings me much joy and happiness. So I love furniture and I love paint. So that's it, right? So that's about me. Once again, I'm Deb, Cottle and Gun, St. Mary's, Georgia, little tiny town right up the way from Jacksonville, Florida. And I welcome you to hop on over to my page. If I can help you in any way, please let me know. And I'll look forward to coming back next month and doing something else. That's another thing I want to mention really quick. If there's things that you guys want us to teach you, we're all here and we're happy to help you. So, you know, sometimes because we do it every day, we kind of don't even think about what you might want us to teach you. So if there's something that we can help you with, by all means, just reach out and be like, hey guys, I have a question about this. Can you all show us how to do it? And we'll hop on here and help you however we can. My pleasure, Chris. Thank you for having me. Thanks, everybody out in the Miss Mustard Seed world. Thanks, Brenda and James, for being great leaders for us. And thanks for inviting me to go live tonight. So y'all have a great Monday night. I hope you have a great week, and get out there, buy some paint, and create something pretty. All right? You all have a great night. Thanks now. Bye-bye.